Good morning, everyone, and welcome to American Scouser's Morning
Oh,
Coffee. I have it right here. Back to being the greatest dad this morning, and Orti with AmericanScouser.com. And if you're familiar with Trevor, who's joining me every morning, he is Mr. Clear Drink. What do we got going this morning, man? The usual gang is
ah,
gathering. Alan, Sparky,
oh,
welcome along, guys.
howdy, howdy.
What do we got going? Water, seltzer,
Yeah,
gin?
yeah, yeah. The
Water it
agua.
is, huh? Damn it, man. Okay, a couple of headlines to get to, and then we will go to our World Cup predictions as you kind of scramble in the background. Gally
Yeah.
was smart enough to figure out how to do a free version of this for everybody involved with American Scouser and you fans as well. So we'll be sharing that later on today on the Facebook page. So take a look at that. Hop on. I did one yesterday online, so it would make this morning show a bit easier. Not all of us are as prepared apparently as Trevor's scrambling
I'm
in the
like I'm like
background.
one I'm like one third in the frame because I'm cobbling my stuff together.
Okay, let's get to the headlines first, and then we'll do the predictions at the end. Well, that's not the headlines, that's a cup of coffee. Here we go. Here are the headlines. The biggest one, obviously, is Curtis Jones signs a new long term contract with Liverpool. I hate to say it, and nothing against Curtis, but this has probably been the most meh I have been for a contract extension in quiet sometime. Like I can't remember the last time we did an extension and I was like, I don't care. And this is one of those because I'm still not sold. You see glimpses, but I don't know if it's like a long term deal. Sparky Parky says another substandard midfielder. I don't know if surrounded with other midfielders, I just don't think a lot, I think Gally has said this, Bickler has said this, I've said this in the past as well. If he's not a scout, I don't think he's on the squad. I think that's what's going for him. I know the homegrown numbers and all that kind of stuff. By the way, Trevor, you're really putting off
Yeah,
Trevor with not
okay.
having
All
the
right.
hands in the
I'll
background.
next time I promise.
We need
Promise.
the props back in action. What do you make? How did you, or did you drink all the cans to celebrate Curtis Jones' extension?
Oh yeah, 100%. 3-year-old beer just down the
Sprayed
hatch.
around the
Everything
house.
went. Yeah. I think it's one of those things, and a lot of people were pointing it out that it's could also just be a conduit for a move where a team that's bringing him in doesn't have to worry about renegotiating a contract. They can kind of just have all those items in place for when he comes in. It doesn't seem like it's a gigantic boost in wages. It's more of just a time thing and that kind of job security. So if that's kind of something to just get that framework in place to give him a easier transition to another club, then that's fine by me. But if I genuinely don't think it's something where they expect him to be here for 5 years.
Really? I mean, yeah, I guess it could be one of those where, got the bases covered, like you said, and, a future sale, perhaps. I don't know. I don't know if it's unfair on him where I constantly say, opportunity for Ox, but not opportunity for Jones. He had that weird eye injury and then another injury afterwards, kind of like put him back. I just don't see a long term unless we change systems or something like that. We don't want to play him on the wing, so he almost has to be that other attacking midfielder. And sometimes that role works when he is. I mean, he's done well in some games, but you just don't see that consistency. So I guess that goes back to what Sparky is saying. It does make him substandard because that should be something that we're looking for is somebody who's going to provide, be consistently good and do the same role week in and week out and not give us the feeling that like, hey, we'll kind of like keep an eye on it. I have not seen a lot of headlines this morning, but there was a rumor going around yesterday, and not even only here, I saw it in like Turkish stuff as well. That Qatar had supposedly bribed Ecuador players to
jeez.
like lose the first game and give him the opener. What do you say about that? I mean, like I say, I did not see any headlines this morning, but it was all over the place yesterday. It's an easy rumor to start. Honestly, I could say anything about Qatar this morning, and I don't think anybody might be shocked, but they would believe it. Like I could say anything this morning and make it up and be like, I guess Qatar is doing this. And then you'd be like, damn, man, that's really crazy. But nobody would like
Yeah.
check my sources.
It's one of those events where everything sounds feasible. You're just going like, Qatar decided to just lock all of Ecuador in a cage, and they will have to forfeit the first game, and there will be like a Scooby-Doo mystery team that has to go out and find the Ecuadorians, and they're going to put it on television. It's I'd sit there and I'm like, okay, that's crazy, but then you're going, oh well, a lot of the other stuff that's led up to this is not necessarily in the normal realm of sport, so let's just kind of
Yeah,
take
I wonder
everything.
if they can say, for example, they talk to the media, so that was banned. We threw him in jail, and half of Ecuador team is in jail or something. Anything is possible. Qatar has now banned alcohol at stadiums. I thought it was already. I keep hearing different. Honestly, I'm shocked it's allowed at all. I thought it would be not allowed.
This is the kicker. It was originally in the stadiums. It was only going to be in like these like 20,000.
Oh, that's right. We talked about like a smoking tent.
Yeah, like the 20,000 pound like corporate sections where those are the only people in the stadium proper that were going to be able to get alcohol, and there was going to be kind of like satellite tents, not on the property of the stadiums, but closer to the little shanty towns that they're making some people stay in, and I think they're just doing away with all of that, and now someone's going, well, FIFA's got a little bit of a lawsuit coming their way from Budweiser. Going, oh, we're going to just have this partnership, and we're not going to be able to sell a drop of our product during this tournament. And everybody was talking this morning about Cristiano Ronaldo with the breach of contract. I think that's a bigger one with sitting there going, well, you're going to be an official beer sponsor and not sell a single beer.
It's just it's a name. Like you're gonna watch like 1,000 commercials with them, the official beer of Qatar and stuff like that. So yeah, and here's a good point. They can sell Bud Zero. Is that what it's called? Like the non-alcoholic Bud? Is that Bud Zero? Sparky knows. See, like he must be drinking the non-alcoholic stuff or something. But yeah, I mean they could do that. I'm sure they have that. Because, like I say, I haven't been.
There's no point in that. If all you're going to sell is non-alcoholic beer, just don't sell beer at all. Why?
It's true. Yeah, exactly. Defeats the purpose. Okay, so let's bring our third over here. It's Friday, so it's Jamaica Friday. We always have a member of the LFC group in Jamaica joining us. We had Kenrick last week. He could not be with us this morning. I guess he has to work or something. I don't know what that is. But who does that? But so we have Garth with us this morning. Good morning, sir. How's it going?
Hey, I'm great. How are you guys?
Good. Plugging along, getting ready for this World Cup. That should be. What the funny thing is? I think it's going to be very entertaining. Not in the soccer sense of way, but I think all around it's going to be entertaining. A couple of other headlines from, I don't know the reasoning behind this, but Argentina and Uruguay are taking 4,000 pounds of meat. So one, not a lot of vegans on those squads. And then two, I mean, why are they taking meat? I'm sure Qatar is able to provide meat. It's not like they can take pork.
Right. Yeah, that's a very interesting headline. I think probably they're just not trusting Qatar at all. I mean, first and foremost, I mean, the World Cup ended up in Qatar. Let's just think about that for a second. And look at the time of year. So, I just figure that probably they're not too trusting of what they'll receive in Qatar. They want to control as many variables as possible. And let's see how it works out for them. I don't think most of the teams, most of the people heading to watch the World Cup from outside of Qatar are very fond of the fact that we're playing the World Cup at this time of year. And then when you think about it even more, all the different religious restrictions. I mean, everybody's free to do what they want to do in terms of their religious practices, but it's very different. That's all I'll say. But hey, 2022 is that kind of year.
Yes, it is. I mean, that's the thing. Actually, that gives me a good idea. That's what they could do to Ecuador. Like Ecuador players are like, does the chicken taste a little off? And then, everybody's got the runs during the game. There you go. Qatar wins the Open. Done. Oh,
man.
yeah, I saw that as John Barnes has been made an ambassador. Honestly, it's like an excellent choice over some others that are mentioned as ambassadors of the club. A couple of other headlines that had our boys on it, and then we'll kind of go to our predictions. This got me a little excited for like a split second, but then reality sunk in. The Mason Mount situation. Is this Trevor? Is this like the Mount showing us Mount has a good agent getting the word out there, or is there really a possibility of landing Mount?
No, just no. I think if it's if he leaves Chelsea, it's either going to go to City or it's going to go to one of the big Italian clubs. I think the Juventus one makes a lot more sense because they are trying to kind of rebuild that team, and they always have to start with the midfield with Juve, and I think he'd be somebody that would go in there and kind of improve them. I think Liverpool's there just to kind of be like, hey, Liverpool need midfielders. Why don't you go look for them? Why don't you put a bid in and kind of jack up the price for who eventually buys him?
Yeah, I mean, how about you there? I mean, do you think there's a chance? Should I keep my hopes up? I guess that's what I'm asking.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Yeah. So I cannot see a talent like Mason Mount moving elsewhere in the Premier League. I agree with Trevor here that the mention of Liverpool is just, I suppose, to kind of keep some kind of suspense going. But if Mason Mount is leaving the Premier League, if he's leaving Chelsea, it's definitely going to be to another league. I think Juventus would be a good fit for him. Juventus need all the help they can get anyway.
Yeah.
But but I think I honestly think that Juventus would be a good fit for him. I think he'd get more game time. I think he'd be able to express himself more, especially now under Graham Potter, who seems to be just trying to find his footing. Because I don't even know why Chelsea let Thomas Tuchel go at the time they did and brought in Graham Potter. I think it was the worst timed move ever. Obviously, I'm not a Chelsea fan. I really don't care in the end. I thank them for it because the way our season started, at least now I know we will finish above Chelsea. But just to get back to the point though, Mount definitely is going to have to leave the Premier League. I cannot see Bowley and the rest of the board agreeing to sell him to competition. And City, wow, where would he fit in? Probably in a cup side for Pep. I don't know. But it's also not coming to us. He's not coming to us. I couldn't even see him.
My morning dreams, man. I was hoping. I think like Tuchel, kind of like his. He has like an expiration date. Any club he goes to, I think that expired, and he started to stink, so they got him out of there. But yeah, I just don't. It would be a dream. I would really like to see him. I really like how he plays, and I like the kid at all overall. But yeah, I just don't see it either. When I saw it, I was like, oh, and then I was like, probably not. So here's a good line. Actually, this was last Friday because Carrick was on when we were talking about this. So Trevor, apparently not all witch doctors are created the same. So you got to really shop around to get a witch doctor before you like deploy the forces. Because not only Mane can't make it to the World Cup, he was close. Now he's out for 3 to 4 months. So I don't know if the witch did the wrong spell, added the wrong ingredients. I don't know what the hell happened there. But so Mane is out. I literally had to go back and swap out my predictions because Senegal was actually one of the teams that I thought were going to surprise a lot of people, but the Witch Doctor has surprised us all. What do you say?
Yeah, his rate my Witch Doctor score is going to go down significantly. I don't going in, seeing the extent of his injury and the way he was kind of residing to the fact that he was going to be out for a while, and then they put him on the squad, and I applaud that because it's something where he deserves to go there, even if it's in a kind of like a ambassadorial role for Senegal, because he's a guy that's really put that team on his back for the better part of a decade and has been a great voice for that nation through football and through his humanitarian work. That's great. But when they're going, yeah, we're going to put all these resources into getting him to play, and then the head, like the chairman of is going, well, we're going to bring witch doctors too. I go, okay. So you're sitting here and you're throwing the Hail Mary, but you have nobody in the end zone. You're really just thinking that it's just going to somehow bounce around 7 different ways, and all of a sudden his leg is going to magically heal, and then he's going to go score all the goals that you need. Kudos to them for even putting the effort in, but it's sad to see him not play.
Yeah, it almost sounds like somebody was like, I watched the movie yesterday. The guy wakes up the next day and he's all good. Like, he's like, maybe the same thing will happen. Well, let's just take him. You never know. And stuff. I mean, that's the thing. Was it just wishful thinking on their part then, Garth? I mean, there's a huge difference between he's not going to be able to make it. The muscle is still hurting him, and he's out for 3 to 4 months.
Absolutely. I agree with you that it was a right decision to add him to the squad because of the influence he had in getting the qualification, and also just the general influence I'm sure he has on his teammates. Great. I think he can take up to a 26-man squad to the World Cup. So really, you're taking 25 men. That's what you're taking. And I think it's great for the dressing room. It's absolutely great. But there was no way. I mean, I remember just seeing the injury, and I'm like, this seems a little bit sketchy because it's super recent. So how would he be able to recover and then participate in the World Cup? I mean, remember now, for you to win the World Cup or to get to the final, you've got to play 8 games. So before you know it, you're up right on it. Senegal, I believe, would have had a challenge anyway, getting all the way. So it's always a dream, really. But taking him, right decision. Adding him to the squad, yes, right decision. Taking him, right decision. Because of his influence off the field. But there was no way. There's no witch doctor or doctor that could get him healthy enough for their first game, which I think is like on Tuesday or Wednesday. So yeah, a good idea, but no, there's no hope.
Yeah, it goes for an A for effort. Maybe it's just me, like it might be my age talking about. They don't make witch doctors like they used to. Growing up, the witch doctors, they could just cure you like that. Now you got to jump through a lot of hoops, and you're out for 4 months.
Watered down.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Everybody calls themselves a witch doctor now. Okay, so let's get to the World Cup predictions. Are you done and ready to go, Trevor, with your World Cup?
Yes, I've scribbled down everything that I need.
I literally had to adjust mine a little bit, like I say, mainly because of Senegal was like really the one, because I had him as the dark horse. So let's start with that before we get to the final and stuff. Trevor, we'll start with you. Give me one team that you feel will be a pleasant, well, I mean, for their own countrymen, I guess, but pleasant surprise, or will outperform most people's expectations.
That is Serbia. And we talked about them yesterday as a team that I think a lot of people are sleeping on because they just see that group and they see Brazil and they're just going, okay, Brazil's going to win. Who cares about everybody else? It's not going to be anything else that we need to worry about. And I displayed my kind of, it may be misdirected disdain for Switzerland and how I think Cameroon's going to take points off people. But Serbia is just, I think, that perfect mix in all the levels that they could make that run that nobody really expects. I don't think they're going to win it by any stretch of the imagination. But
How far? How far you
Oh,
got?
I have them in the semifinals.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Hold on. Back to my bracket over here. I don't even know. So I don't even have him going to the next round, for God's sake. So
Yeah, because you sheep picked Switzerland.
I did pick Switzerland. So you have him beating Portugal?
No, I have Uruguay winning that group.
Okay. That's why we're like off fan. Okay, that's interesting. So let's go with Sparky has France, Brazil, Argentina, and Denmark. Damn it, he stole my surprising team because I have Denmark as my surprising team. Maybe not as surprising, definitely not as much as Serbia. I think you would expect maybe Denmark to do better overall.
I think
than
I've set the
Serbia.
bar very high in terms of
Yes, you did.
surprises.
So now my surprising team doesn't look as surprising, but yeah, I was going to say Denmark. How about you, God? Who do you have as a team that's gonna basically outdo expectations? Not win, perhaps, but go a lot farther than most.
I'm always fond of. I've always been fond of the quality of Belgium. I just don't know that Martinez will be able to guide them all the way. But I think it's time for Belgium to come good. They've got the goods. They've
It's like
got
famous
the goods.
last words.
But Belgium for me would be that team. Between them and Croatia, those are the two teams. I mean, you can look at the quality of Croatia. You saw what they did in the last World Cup. Nobody, I wouldn't say nobody, but very few people had any faith that they would have gone to the semifinals. So, like, just for that, I mean, they've aged 4 years. They haven't added a lot of youth to their squad. But boy, do they have some workhorses, So Croatia and Belgium, for me, are the two teams that would really pull a surprise. And the groups they're in, well, certainly you expect Belgium to get out of Canada, Morocco, and Croatia. So I expect both of them to leave the group and head to the knockout phase of the competition. And then thereafter, it might be a little tricky. But I can see Croatia getting back to those semis. I honestly believe they can make it to the semis. And for Belgium, I can see them getting to the quarters. I can see that. It's well within the realm of possibility.
Yeah,
but I see Croatia going for it.
You guys are really high on your like your dark horses. I mean, I don't even see Denmark being able to go. The problem I had is when I did the brackets, I don't know because of like who I had winning and second. When I did the round of 16, it's created some really difficult matchups for teams that I felt would be able to make surprises. So it got them like eliminated early. So give me one team. We'll start with you on this one, Garth. Give me one team that you feel will underperform, either not get out of the group or leave early in the round of 16.
Ooh, wow. Spain.
Damn, man. I should have told myself first. You have him losing to Belgium, I assume, right? Because you're at Belgium.
Yeah. So Spain, boy, let me tell you, the big issue for me with Spain is youth. They've got so much youth. They've got really good young talent. I've seen them in a couple of friendlies. I've watched them in the Euros, and I'm like, I don't know. Spain, yeah, definitely Spain. I think they will underperform.
See, Sparky is offended. He's like, I like no one talking about England made semis and last tournaments. I think that's the Southgate factor. I almost feel like, Southgate will hold that team back. And I almost feel like it will hold them back until they're in a losing position and somebody's going to hang on to dear life and eliminate him. Going back to my bracket, I actually originally had Senegal matching up with England, and I had Senegal winning. Like a 1-0, I think is what I had. And Alan says, England, it's not coming home. They might be coming back home, but I don't know if they're going to come with anything. Trevor, who do you have as a team that's not going to perform as well as expected in that bracket of yours?
Well, I don't have a lot of the teams that we discussed going home in the group stages. I think it's pretty chalky on that front for me. Unless you want to count the Swiss, I think I'm just going to anger all of
You and the
Switzerland.
Swiss, the hatred. They're neutral.
There is no hatred. It's just a bit of apathy. I just don't care.
They're
about-
neutral, good chocolate, good watches.
Yeah.
What else you need,
Yeah,
man?
I don't wear a watch, so that doesn't bother me. Good chocolate. We'll go in there. But the two teams I have going home in the round of 16 that I think it's going to not necessarily surprise people from the way I've kind of talked about their rosters, but Portugal and Germany I don't think are going to have deep runs in them. I think Portugal, just with me getting them out of the group stage, says a lot about just their talent pool, that they don't go full France 2010 on it and just completely shit the bed before things even get going. But I have them losing the Portuguese speaking derby to Brazil, and I have Germany losing the mixed flag derby to Belgium. So
Buzz says Belgium is out quick. Man, it's funny how
well they're
this
going
is
to
why,
lose
like,
to Serbia. Is that quick enough for you?
this is what makes the World Cup interesting to me, because like predictions are all over the place. We sit down and talk about the Premier League. We might have a top 5 amongst ourselves, shuffled in different order, but you're not gonna have somebody saying somebody putting like City as 9th or something like that or whatever. I mean, it's we're in the World Cup. The predictions are like all over the place. Well, let's get to the final, and we reserve the rights. Let me make it official over here, right, Trevor? Since you whipped it up in the last second, we reserve the right to change these predictions before we do the American Scouser, the bracket challenge.
I make predictions and I stick to them, no matter how wrong they are. And they're usually very, very wrong.
So, okay, in that wrong prediction of yours, what do you have? Who do you have in the final? I reserve my right, that's for sure. Because, like I say, I changed a bunch
you
of
can
stuff.
make that disclaimer. I will, because I'll put it out there. There was a streak from 2006 until when Portugal won the Euros that I had picked every World Cup winner and every Euros winner correctly from the jump street.
Shut up.
I can have people attest to this.
Yeah, you need to call witnesses.
But then
Yeah.
I had France winning that tournament, and then Portugal just torpedoed it, and I haven't hit a single pick in the tournament since. I had Belgium winning I had Germany winning the World Cup after that. They got bounced in the first round. I had the Euros. I think I had Belgium win. I was like, I couldn't even get like people in like minor tournaments right. I was doing stuff like it was terrible. I've been the drizzling shits ever since, and that's why I blame Portugal for that. So I'm sorry in advance to those who are backing Argentina, because I'm putting the kibosh on your chances of winning by picking them over France. Sorry.
So you have them in the final losing to France.
No, I have them beating France, which means they're probably going to lose, and that's why I'm doing the apology tour now.
Works for me. How about you there, Garth?
Wow. Final. I believe it's France's year. I honestly do. It's very difficult for me to see anybody getting the better of France. It's so hard. I think they defend so well. They've got an amazing. Well, their midfield is a little shaky at the moment, but I mean, and it's not that it's a bad midfield. It's just that no Kante, no Pogba, and you go, man, they're going to have a challenge. But have you looked around the rest of that team? They have an amazing team. Didier Deschamps really knows how to coach them well. They're obviously very well coached. They generally play very organized, very good, strong attacking football, which I think is going to be the big thing for them. So France all the way. I hate to say it. I mean, personally, my team is not in the World Cup. I'm an Italian football lover. So I'm just watching from like an
Wait,
angle
why
of
Italy?
objectivity.
Why Italy? Out of curiosity now. Now you made me
As
wonder.
Sure. So as a child, I mean, I was always just attracted to Italian football. But the thing with me and Italy is that they know about clean sheets. If Italy scores on you first, it's done.
Yeah.
It's a done deal. And they're not parking the bus in an unattractive way, like when Mourinho brought Chelsea in that. Let me not talk about it. Anyhow, um, right? But they don't park the bus in this unattractive way. They play really well defensively. They know how to hold the ball. They play really good possession football, but they're all over the park with you. So they're not just living in their defensive third. They are also in the attacking third. So I've always loved that. Baggio was one of my favorites as a kid. So I'm just stuck with them. And as much as I watch very limited Serie A, and mainly English football, I am definitely not swinging on that three lions. So Italy just does it for me. And so to get back to the question though, France for me is a complete squad. They are strong everywhere. They've got an amazing coach, and I cannot see anybody getting the better of them. They will be challenged. It's not going to be a walk in the park. And I see them in the final with, if I remember correctly, the bracket can allow them to end up playing against Brazil. So, yeah,
This is
that's where it's
scary,
at.
but I have the same final as freaking Trevor over here, and I do. This is good news for me, I guess, because I do have France winning the final. Because I have Argentina actually knocking out Brazil, who is knocking out Germany, and then I have Argentina and France in the final with France winning it. Because I agree, Garth. I mean, I think you look at that team. Even though they're missing a couple of, like, you got, they don't have Nkunku, but they have Mbappe and Benzema. I mean, it's like, it's just a ridiculous wealth of riches that, in the back line, their center backs, it's just very, very deep squad. And I think that's why there are a lot of teams where if something happens during this tournament, and it might, I mean, there's a lot of games these guys will play without having a camp going into it like they would normally, like a proper, like a World Cup preparing camp kind of a thing that they normally have. So they're going to be playing a bunch of games. And I think that's why it's going to be, which I don't know if I want to like root for them. I just, just my brain is going with them. I don't know. If Neymar gets injured early, once again, let the record state. If Neymar breaks his leg in the first game, I'm rooting for Brazil hardcore rest of the way, but I sadly don't see that happening. Speaking of that, let's give that. So Alan says, so are you guys convinced France can win in 90 minutes? What would happen if it went to extra time? See, still, I think the extra time thing goes back to France having that riches on the bench. I feel like, France can put in another 4 or 5 guys. I don't know if Argentina can. Brazil maybe is the closest team in terms of having that depth, right? I mean, like, Garth, let me ask you, because you were big on France, like, who is the second team you think? Because you said they had the most complete squad. Who will be the closest?
Brazil actually would be the closest for me. Yeah, without a doubt. And so the important thing to consider here is Brazil has on its bench, right? Let's just take a look at the Brazilian bench, right? Or what would be a Brazilian bench. You're talking about another team that could easily get out of the group stage. Let's say you had a Brazil B team. They could still get out of the group stage. Right? So
that's why Serbia is in the other side of the bracket. They don't have to worry about Brazil a second time.
But that for me, the type of quality that Brazil has to call upon to substitute, it makes them quite a formidable opponent for everybody. My only thing with Brazil though is, so I watched Copa America, right? And there were times. I mean, people can have a go at Brazil, and that's what that's my only worry, so to speak, about them. People can really have a go because I saw Ecuador put up a challenge. I saw Paraguay have them against the ropes. You know, I saw Chile really put Brazil under pressure. I mean, ultimately they came out with wins, I think, against all of them in at least one leg, and they didn't lose, but they drew, I think, 2-2 with Chile in a reverse fixture. So that for me is like, if you really organize yourself very well, but also it's difficult to compare Copa America to them going to the Euros, because like in South America, the stadiums can really be, the fans can really drive you into a shell. You know, it's very intimidating sometimes. So that could be part of the reason. So you won't have that kind of a situation in the World Cup. You're a little freer to play, a
You
little
don't
less
have
under pressure.
faith in the imported Pakistani Brazilian fans to create the same atmosphere. What are you saying? Like the imported Pakistani fans are not going to be as good. I mean, so like, I'm teaching him samba and stuff right now. You guys gotta be Brazilian. Get ready. Like, but I hear you. I hear you. Yeah. So we will start the show. I mean, well, not we won't, but the World Cup will start on Sunday. And then starting next week, we'll do the World Cup edition of our morning show. I will still make sure, and I don't think I forgot, Trevor, your morning headline for Ronaldo. So let's not forget that, because I know you. It's not a morning for you if you don't talk Cristiano Ronaldo. But
Ghana and South Korea, hear my plea. Please knock them out. I don't want this anymore.
Actually, the longer he's in there, the longer the headline. So maybe I should be rooting for Portugal ultimately. But yeah, I guess United is looking for legal avenues to breach of contract and sue them and stuff like that. I was gonna mess with you and throw that out, but I'll have all week.
Just do it.
But starting next week, we'll start the World Cup version of our morning shows as well. We'll recap the games. We'll be doing them actually as one of the games are ongoing too. So it's going to be a watch along at the same time. Garth, thanks a lot for joining us this morning. Give us your predictions as well. And then we'll see you guys. I don't know, you, Kenrick, or someone else from your guys' group in Jamaica on Friday. Get some feedback there. And we will be back Monday morning with Trevor, and we're thinking in the second round, not in the group round, we'll do some live watch-alongs and stuff like that as well once things start to get interesting. Of course, if it goes to penalty kicks, that means like a 3-4 hour broadcast over here. So bring a lot of water, Trevor, or bring those cans that you put away because you might need them by the time we get to the penalty kicks. They're on the you didn't put them away. They're on the ground.
I didn't throw them out.
Well, thanks to everybody as always. Give us
thank you too.
Like,
take care.
All that kind of stuff. Thanks again, Garth. See you guys Monday morning. Have an awesome weekend. Take care.